A few nights ago, I was sitting in my room eating my last meal of the day. While I'm eating this meal, I'm thinking to myself how I can improve my YouTube channel, how I can get more views, subscribers, how I can produce more quality content for you guys, what I can do in my thumbnails and all that. Above all that, however, I'm thinking about how I can outdo my competition, how I can outperform the other people who are in my same niche, how I can maybe get up earlier and take a cool shower, come here and record and edit faster, maybe have someone else edit for me. I'm thinking about how I can get ahead of everyone else. And that's when the thought occurs to me that in order for me to succeed, in order for me to win and have a livelihood myself, make a livelihood off of this, I need to take away that same opportunity from someone else. And that's when it also occurs to me that business is kind of evil. In the field of business, the ones who do the trampling, the ones who are more willing to step on others and ruin other people's livelihoods, they're the ones who succeed the most. Think of the top 1%. Jeff Bezos, Mark Zuckerberg, Peter Brabeck, all the big names. The thing that they all have in common is that they have been more willing to push their moral compass further and further and further until eventually the only thing that concerns them is profit. This is why good people do not survive. It's because in order for me to succeed, I need to be willing and able to rob you of opportunities for your livelihood, for making a livelihood off something without blinking. I need to forget considering the fact that you have a family too and that you need to feed them. Although people might argue that, well, that's just competition. You need to, when someone wins, someone loses. This competition that is where the losses are waged in the loss of livelihoods, it's not fair at all. Take the example of, let's take two hypothetical situations. In situation A, there are two friends and they're sparring. They're just having to go at it, fighting each other. One of them wins, the other loses, and then they both go home. In situation B, there are two men competing for the same job position. Both of them have families. One of them wins the position and the other one loses. In the former situation, the person who lost goes home, still a loser, but they still get to eat. In the latter situation, the one who lost is not guaranteed their means of subsistence. They might go home and have to break the bad news to their family that he didn't get the position and they'll be evicted in a month. Competition is necessary, but when this competition, when its losses are waged and the loss of you being able to eat, when ultimately losing in this game of competition means you might not be able to house yourself, that you might be living on the streets, that's when it's not fair. Especially considering the fact that when it's workers competing for the same position, one loses, the person who wins doesn't even really win because they're still paid pathetically low wages most of the time. And either way, the guy at the very top wins because somebody gets the position and works for him no matter what. And so this is the final question I want to ask you guys. I want us to discuss this. I want us to really think about this. Is this competition fair? The way I see it, it's not. Because like I said, we need competition. We need to compete against each other for stuff. But competing should not mean that we compete against who gets to eat or not, who gets to drink or not. Those things should be granted rights. These things we should have them, or we should at least be given the freedom to attain them without this need for essentially waging our our lives for it, like betting our lives for a job position. That should that is unfair in my opinion. It's not right. It's not moral. And so we should not be forced to compete with each other for basic necessities. We should compete with each other in sports and things of that nature, but ultimately competing for food is it's nonsense. It makes no sense. We've reached a point of intelligence where we should be able to coexist without this evil form of competition, this exploitative form of competition, where the guy at the top benefits and wins everything, while the guys who are there struggling and duking it out, if either of them lose, they're gonna suffer. And even the one who wins, maybe he doesn't suffer of hunger, but he suffers from purposelessness, unfulfillment. And so ultimately, we need to restructure our labor systems, our environments. We need to restructure a whole lot of shit so that work is fulfilling, and that not being able to work somewhere does not mean that we won't be able to feed our families. With that, I'm able to conclude this video. I know this one was significantly shorter than my other stuff, and there's no like actionable steps or anything, but I really wanted to go over this topic at least briefly because this thought occurred to me, and I found it really strange that, you know, I found it ironic that in the space of self improvement, we're always talking about how to get ahead of the competition. This space that's supposedly so like ethical and like, yeah, let's go improve our lives. The success of those big names depends on the failures of thousands and hundreds of other people. And so I was just thinking about that. I might turn this into a video essay. I'm not sure. Maybe I want to go over things more in depth, but in the comments, please let me know what you thought. Please engage with the content. Let's discuss in the comments. Let me know what you thought. Do you think that business is evil or not? Do you think that the concept of this like exploitation and competition, do you think that that's fair? Do you think it's unfair? Do you think it's necessary? Do you think it's unnecessary? Let me know in the comments. I have a Medium page, as you guys know. Check that out for articles and content that you may miss on YouTube. And with that, I'm able to finish this video. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you.